Welcome to the Childcare Directors Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Directors Chair.
Hey guys, it's Erica here with the Childcare Directors Chair Podcast. Sorry I sound a little nasally today. I just have not been able to get rid of this pollen from Rhode Island here. It is going crazy, and I have sounded nasally for the last 2 weeks, so I do apologize. All right, listen, today we're going to get into it. I am in my nerdy stage. As many of you know, I am still in school at 55 years old, working on wrapping up this master's degree. And I really wanted to do a little research today about the power of positive leadership modeling in early childhood education. And here's really what I found. Research in organizational psychology consistently shows that leadership behavior is one of the strongest predictors of workplace culture, employee engagement, and retention. And a Gallup research also found that 70% of the variance in employee engagement is influenced directly by the supervisor or manager. So that means if something's awry, it's a good chance the problem might be you. In early childhood education, where emotional labor is high, staffing shortages are persistent, and burnout rates remain elevated, this statistic becomes even more critical. Because in this field, leadership isn't about having it be a background factor. It is the environment. And that leads us to today's focus. Positive leadership modeling is one of the most effective drivers of motivation, retention, and organizational stability. All right, well, let's talk about what it is. So let's define positive leadership modeling in a leadership theory. Positive leadership modeling is grounded in social learning theory, which came out in 1977. And the theory suggests that individuals learn behaviors not only through instruction, but through observation, imitation, and reinforcement of what they consistently see in their environment. In leadership context, that means employees do not primarily learn from policies or handbooks or trainings. They learn from their leaders. A positive leadership model is therefore not a personality trait, but an emotional disposition. It is the consistent pattern of observable leadership behaviors that create structure, predictability, and psychological safety. You know, the buzzword of the year, psychological safety. In early childhood education environments, this includes having people who are emotionally regulated under pressure. So that refers to leaders' ability to maintain a stable tone, body language, and decision-making during stressful or unpredictable moments. Of course, we never have those in childcare, right? Of course we do. And research in organizational behavior shows that leaders' emotional state significantly influences team emotional states through emotional contagious. That's right. Your positive behavior or your negative behavior is contagious, just like everything else in childcare, right? So when a leader escalates emotionally, staff often mirror that escalation. You know the director who's like, oh my God, it's been a day. And they're running around the center and who called out, what parent complained, and, just all the things, right? Or the opposite. When a leader remains calm and grounded, teams are more likely to process situations rationally rather than being reactive. So maybe it's been a day, guys, and you handled it like pros. Everybody was calm. We made sure everybody was safe. And, great job. I knew you could do it. That's definitely a whole different tone. And you want to be clear and consistent with your communication. This involves delivering expectations in a way that is structured, direct, and repeatable across time. Communication research shows that ambiguity increases cognitive load, which creates workplace stress and decrease performance consistently. And in childcare settings, unclear expectations often result in misalignment between classrooms, staff confusion, and increased corrective feedback loops, meaning you're constantly repeating yourself. Fair and predictable decision-making is so important, and this refers to applying policies and expectations consistently, regardless of emotional preference or interpersonal relationships. You know, your bestie that works at the school that gets away with everything. Yeah, we see you. You have to make sure that you are fair. And organizational justice research constantly shows that employees are more influenced by perceived fairness than the strictness of the outcomes. They want to know that everybody is playing the same game. Inconsistency in leadership decisions is one of the fastest ways to erode trust with your team. Now, always be respectful. Respectful accountability conversations. This is the ability to address performance or behavior issues directly while maintaining dignity and respect in communication. Research on workplace engagement shows that employees are more likely to remain engaged when feedback is clear, when it's timely, and delivered without emotional volatility and personal criticism. They don't want a volatile boss. Accountability is not avoided in positive leadership, but it is structured and intentional. Now, taken together, these behaviors form the foundation of what researchers describe as leader-driven climate formation, the process of which leadership behaviors become organizational culture. So that's what it is. Let's talk about the why. Why modeling matters more than motivation. Employee motivation is often misunderstood as something that can be created through an incentive or messaging program, but it's really not. However, self-determination, that theory shows that sustained motivation is primarily driven by 3 psychological needs. Number 1 is autonomy, the perception of having control over one's work and decisions. When leadership is overly reactive or inconsistent, autonomy is reduced because staff feel like they are constantly adjusting to expectations. Number 2 is competence, the belief that one is capable and effective in their role. Clear leadership modeling strengthens competence by providing predictable standards and constant feedback. And then being relatable, that relatableness, the sense of connection and belonging within a workplace, leadership behavior strongly influences how relatable through tone, respect, and emotional consistency. When those 3 needs are not met consistently, research shows increased burnout, disengagement, turnover, and intention. In early childhood education specifically, turnover rates have been reported in some studies to range as high as 25 to 40% yearly, significantly higher than the national workforce average. While compensation is a factor, workforce research repeatedly identifies workplace climate and leadership consistency as primary factors for retention. Listen, people don't sign up to be teachers for the money. Let's be honest. They know at the beginning, teachers don't make a lot of money. In early childhood specifically, we really don't make a lot of money. They know that when they sign up. So that can't really be the main reason they're leaving because there's no surprise. It's not a surprise that early ed staff do not make a lot of money. They know it. It is a factor, but it's not the main factor. And this is why leadership modeling is not optional, but it's structural, because it directly shapes whether the staff feel stable enough to stay. And number 3, the how. Okay, we talked about what it is. We talked about, what it looks like. How do you do it? So operational positive leadership in practice. It is modeling when it becomes actionable, when translated into observable leadership behaviors. Applied leadership research often categorizes into these 4 operational domains. Number 1, emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the leader's ability to maintain psychological and behavioral stability during stress. And this is critical because research in organizational neuroscience shows that emotional states in leaders are transferred over to the teams through unconscious behavioral cues. So you don't even know you're doing it. When leaders remain calm during crisis situations, staff's cognitive function improves, problem solving increases, and escalation decreases. When leaders become reactive, stress increases, decision quality declines, conflict intensifies, and in practice, emotional regulation creates a stabilizing effect on the entire environment. Number 2 is that clarity of communication. Clarity of communication refers to reducing ambiguity in expectations, instructions, and feedback. Research in workplace psychology shows that unclear communication is one of the top contributors to employee stress and role confusion. And in childcare environments, unclear communication often results in inconsistent classroom practices, repeated misunderstandings, increased supervisory interaction, and not only interaction, but having to intervene because things aren't being done correctly, or clear communication. It reduces cognitive burden and allows staff to focus on execution rather than interpretation. So in practice, clarity increases efficiency and reduces that emotional friction. And 3, consistent accountability. Consistent accountability refers to applying expectations uniformly across individuals and situations. Organizational justice theory identifies procedural fairness as one of the strongest predictors of trust and leadership. And when accountability is inconsistent, trust declines, perceptions of favoritism increase, and engagement decreases. When accountability is consistent, well, the opposite. Trust stabilizes, expectations become predictable, and performance improves over time. And in practice, consistency builds credibility more than anything else ever will. So, and 4, predictability of leadership behavior. Your staff cannot walk on eggshells. Predictability refers to how reliable staff can anticipate leadership responses in both positive and negative situations. You can't come in one day, sunshine and rainbows, and then the next day on a tangent. So it's really important that your staff feel psychologically safe to give feedback, to talk, to try to do something without your permission, right? Because they need that autonomy. Unpredictable leadership creates hesitation. It creates fear-based decision-making and reduced innovation. And gosh knows we need innovation right now. So keep it predictable. And the 4th thing is the impact. Organizational outcomes of positive leadership modeling. Well, positive leadership modeling is when it is consistently applied. Research across organizational behavior, educational leadership, and workforce studies show measurable outcomes. You're going to have improved staff retention, you're going to have increased employee engagement, and you're going to have reduced workplace conflict. Sounds nice, right? You'll also have higher organizational trust, and you're going to have improved classroom stability for children. So importantly, all these outcomes are not achieved through policy alone. They're achieved through daily behavioral modeling at the leadership level. Because in early childhood education, leadership does not remain in theory. It becomes operational reality inside your classrooms. Now, today's episode is sponsored by our friends at AllBrand New England. They are a regional supplier supporting childcare centers with essential food and operational supplies. AllBrand New England provides reliable access to food service inventory for childcare nutrition programs, classroom and daily operational supplies, constant ordering systems that are designed for high-demand environments, and in early childhood education settings, operational relatability and reliability directly impact the program stability. When supply chains are inconsistent, staff attention is diverted from instruction to logistics, like we're out of toilet paper, right? Really, really big problem when you're running a center with 18 bathrooms, right? By supporting dependable supply access, AllBrand New England helps directors maintain operational continuity and reduce that administrative strain. So to learn more about supply solutions for your center, visit the link below in the show notes and see our friends over at AllBrand New England, sponsors of the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference, which is in less than 2 weeks. So if you don't have your tickets, the last day to get your tickets is today. So make sure you get your tickets. Link is below. And until then, see you tomorrow.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Directors Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sacoccio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.